It is, it's live.
Hi everyone, I'm here today outside Sorby House in Sheffield, and we are demanding a public inquiry into why crimes are being committed in this building, the unlawful stealing of children from loving families. We want to know why no one is holding them accountable and who is actually regulating these crimes that are being committed and being covered up. Children are being ripped away from loving families for no lawful reason. We want to know why this is being allowed to happen, and we demand a public inquiry. We are not going to be silenced when you take away what's the most precious thing to us, our children. We will not be silenced when you steal our children. We demand that they are returned to us. You cannot go round kidnapping children. It is unlawful and people need to know what's going on. They are silencing all the mothers and the fathers that this is happening to. It's happening all over the UK right now. It's happening in Scotland, in England, in Wales, in Ireland. They are going into loving families and they are taking children unlawfully. You need to all be aware that this is happening because it could be your children next. Now I ask that you all pray for these families that are going through these horrific crimes. These evil workers that have no hearts, that can go into a family home and steal a child from a loving family. The trauma that this does to the child and to their families are horrendous. Can you imagine the trauma that that child is going to suffer for the rest of their life, being taken away from their loving families? The public need to be aware and they need to stand up against this is coming, what's going on. We cannot allow this to continue. So I urge all those that are going through this right now to come forward and do not be silenced, do not be scared. They are bullies and they will bully you into staying silent. They will threaten you with prison if you tell the public what is going on with your children being stolen. They will try and gag you and tell you that you will go to prison if you tell anyone about these crimes that they are committing. Does anyone think this is fair and lawful? Now we want to make the public aware because we think the public have a right to know the truth of what is going on, and we will not be silenced. You cannot steal someone's precious children given by God and take them away unlawfully for no reason. It's not right, it's not fair, it's not just, it's immoral, and it's the cruelest of cruels and barbaric.
Totally agree.
Thank you. And that is why we're standing here today, because we are not going to be silenced. The trauma that this does to families is absolutely heartbreaking. Can you imagine you have a loving family and you are living there peacefully with your children, and social workers come into your home for no lawful reason, and they want to have eyes on your children, what gives them the right? They can then get the powers to go through court, the family court, which is all secret, with no signature, no court stamp, no official court stamp, and they can then get the powers backed up by the police to come into your family home and steal your children away from you. Now, if you don't think there's something seriously wrong with this country, you cannot have your children stolen for no reason. People think that you can, and they think there must be a reason why they're going to take children. But I'm telling you, they can take your children for no lawful reason, and this barbaric practice cannot continue. Social workers will come into your homes and they will find any reason to take your children away. And that is why I'm speaking the truth today, because if you love your families and you want to protect your families, you need to know the truth. And we all need to come together and stand against this evil corporation. They are supposed to be protecting children. They pretend that they are looking out for the children's best interests. But how is that protecting children when you are putting them through lifelong trauma and removing them from their loving families where they've been brought up with no problems, when they're happy and they're healthy and they're thriving. How is it right and just to come into their home and steal those children away, causing them horrific damage for the rest of their life? And then any time someone tries to tell the truth about what's going on, they are threatened with prison or fines. This is barbaric, this is bullying, intimidation tactics and blackmail. And these crimes are against the international laws, they are against human rights, and they should not be happening. And we will not stop speaking about it until it is stopped. I have heard of so many mums and dads that this has happened to now, and it is not right. I can't be the only one that's going to stand up against this. Please, everyone come together and pray for these poor families and these poor children that are going through this immense trauma. You cannot begin to imagine the lifelong trauma this does to a child. When they've been brought up in a family with their loving mum, their loving family around them, and they are ripped out unlawfully by social workers, the damage that this does is absolutely immense, and they cannot have hearts to go into someone's home and do this. They have no empathy, no compassion. They're not interested in the truth. They will go by what they invent. They make up lies, and they will go by what they are going to stick to, and they will not look at your evidence, they will not look at the facts, and they will not look at the truth. This is wrong, this is barbaric, and this is pure evil. And that is why we're standing out here today outside Sorby House in Sheffield, because we want people to know, we want the public to know the truth of what is going on. It is not going to be tolerated, and we are taking a stand against it. And just remember that we have a creator and a living God of all, and he sees everything. He knows everything that these wicked ones are doing. He knows the lies, he knows the injustice, he knows what's being covered up, and he will not stand by and allow you to get away with it. So I ask you now that if you are part of this, if you are in any way participating in these unlawful crimes, I ask that you realise what you're doing and you step away from it and you stand up for truth. If you have a heart and you know deep down that this is wrong, I ask that you stand for the truth and that you do not be a participant, because you will be held fully accountable. There is no escaping God. Whether you believe in God or not, there is a God and a creator of all who sees everything. He promises that vengeance is his, and he promises that every single one shall reap what they sow. So if you are committing heinous crimes against children and against families, you will be held fully accountable. There is no escaping that. So now is your chance to remove yourself from these atrocities and to come forward and no longer participate in being part of this evil practice. You are destroying children's lives and you are destroying families, and it needs to stop. And we ask that everyone prays for these families and for these children, for their utter protection from all harm. And we ask and pray that justice is done and justice is served. Please come together in prayer to our Father in heaven and pray for justice. He does see all, and he will not tolerate these evil doings, which they can only be described as evil, because anyone that thinks it's okay to go into a loving family and steal children from a loving family where they're happy and healthy and have been brought up all their lives, that is barbaric. And if you think that's okay, there is something very seriously wrong with you. So that is why we're standing here today, because we want the public to know the truth. We will not hide. We will not go into the dark and shut up about it. Our children are a gift from God, and they're the most precious thing in our lives. You cannot go around removing them from loving families. Children are supposed to be protected from abuse and from harm, not taken from a loving family and put in danger's way and put with strangers. These children need a voice, and we are that voice. We will not stop speaking up about it until this injustice is brought to the light. We want justice to be done. Thank you so much to everyone for all your prayers and for your ongoing support. Please keep speaking the truth and stand up for these families that are going through these horrific crimes. I know too many for it to be a coincidence. There are loving families being targeted and their children being stolen unlawfully. Now men and women need to come together and take a stand against this. Because if you don't, it could be your children next. And I wouldn't wish this on anyone. When you know the pain that this causes, that it rips your insides apart inside. There are no words to describe the pain that rips through your body going through this. And the pain that this does to the children, not understanding why they've been taken away from their loving families. Anyone participating in this, I don't know how you can live with yourself. I don't know how you can sleep at night knowing what you're doing. Your crimes will not go unspoken. Your crimes will be announced to the world, and everyone will know what you've done. You cannot steal children from loving homes. And we want these crimes investigated by the public. We demand a public inquiry. Thank you very much for all your prayers and support. We ask that you continue to raise awareness and to share this truth. We want everyone to know. Thank you.